going to be the first topic. Yeah, so this is the part 2 of 01 Introduction, Concepts and Fundamentals. So for this week, we will be talking about or discuss about who, yeah, the people who will involve in the software requirement process. And also this one is the most important one, yeah, is about which requirements. Yeah, so during this discussion we will talk about the different types of requirements. So why important is because when you're doing the software requirement process, you have to be able to plan what kind of requirements that you are collecting. So when you are writing down the questionnaire, planning the question for interview or questionnaire or survey or something, so you know what to ask, yeah, because you know what kind of answer that you expect from the users. It's just that you don't know which function, but you know that if it's about functions, then you know you have to ask about functions. Yeah, if it's about constraint, then you know you have to ask about constraint. All right, so this topic today is very, very important. So you have to listen carefully, try it out, practice, try with the Kahoot games, and let's see if you understand or not. If you still don't understand, then you need more practice, and let me know so I can give you more practice. Yeah. All right. So this is our first subtopic for today, which is about who. Okay, so in a job advertisement, yeah, it's quite common to see software engineer posts. Yeah, so if you're looking through some job advertisement, yeah, today or later on, so you'll see that software engineer is the common post. So you as a fresh graduate normally is welcome to apply for this kind of post. Yes, a general post, software engineer. So normally when it comes to software engineer, the qualification needed is a degree, first degree. Yeah. So if you once you have graduated, normally we can look for job as software engineer. Okay. So there are also job posts like requirements engineer or business analyst. Normally this kind of job posts, they require more experience. Yeah, especially because when a company asks for requirements engineer, meaning that they are very focusing, they really take requirements as something important. Yeah, so which is not quite common in many companies. Yeah, even the software houses, sometimes they don't actually take requirements seriously, even though it's very important, right? Okay, so for company that actually look for requirements engineer, meaning that they are serious with the requirements. And also there is business analyst, which is actually part of the requirement. So when you're doing requirement process, you will actually do some tasks like a business analyst. So you will be analyzing the business domain, yeah, which is actually the first part of the requirements process. So both requirement engineer and business analyst, normally they look for experienced people, because experienced people mean they have they have encounters lots of experiences, and so many things that has happened, and they know what are the risks, they know how to negotiate. That's why they usually require someone with experiences. But if they welcome fresh graduates, then you can actually apply, yeah, once you have graduated, because once you have completed this course, yeah, I'm confident that you can do the requirement process if you actually practice them, so you know what to do. Yeah. Okay, for a software engineer, it's a degree, so the same goes with requirement engineer, because we are talking about requirements, so let's focus on requirement engineer. So what else needed for to become a requirements engineer? So we know that we need to have knowledge. So you can get the knowledge and some of the skills from this course. Yeah, you can practice the skill in this course. You have the degree, the AC10, hopefully. Yeah, when you graduated, and which skills are actually needed to become requirements engineer? Come on, use the chat function. Try and guess what kind of skills needed for to become a requirements engineer. Come on, use the chat function. Answer my question. Come on. What is the kind of skills that people are looking for a requirements engineer? If you want to become requirements engineer, which skill do you need to improve or you need to nurture? Come on. Any skill, come on, that is related to requirements process or project development in general, or project management, sorry, or product development. Come on. No answer? Understanding. Okay, ada jawab. Oh, a bit slow, my Wi-Fi. Okay, communication, true. Okay, so wait, let's go to the next slide. I'll show. Maybe you can relate with the activities, yeah? Okay, let's see. Communication. Okay, rather than say communication. So communication, yes, true. Throughout the process, software engineering process, throughout the product development, and in the requirement engineering, very, very much needed during elicitation. And then also when you communicate with team members, so that will be also across all the activities, yeah. But during elicitation, it is the most important skill. All right, analysis skills, true. Analysis in the second phase of requirement engineering, so it is very much needed. Problem solving, not much. When you are doing requirements engineering, you are not actually proposing your own ideas. Yeah, you are not trying to solve some problems. You are actually trying. Uh, the main thing is when you are doing requirements, you have to be able to elicit. Mean that you have to be able to dig out all the things needed by the user. And they are all coming either from the user or coming from existing system or coming from existing document that you can refer to. So they are not coming from you. Yeah, they are coming from some sources. So we don't say that you are the problem solver at this point. Yeah, but when you start designing, you start creating something, then we will say that you are trying to solve something. Yeah, for the time being, uh, you try to guess or to try to uh, identify what is are actually needed by your client, yeah, or user. Time management skills. Okay, time management skills during project management, it is very much needed. And when you are doing requirement process, it's actually a project, a sub project, so you need management skill, which include time, yeah, people management, cost management. Okay, so they are all needed. Understanding what user needs, okay, that's what we call, yeah, if you can actually understand, yeah, when you do the analysis, you interpret the meaning of all of the data, and at the end you're able to produce the meaningful information. So which means that you understand what user need. If you can get to that level, then you will be great in requirements. Yeah, so you should become a requirement engineer if you can do that. All right, data handling and validation. Yeah, data handling. When you get data from a list station, yes, you have to know how to then handle the data. So it's part of management as well. Yeah, but focus on the data. And validation, true. So you need to have that skill. You must be able to know what to validate, how to validate them, how to make it done, yeah, and how to manage the validation. All right, good. Designing skill. We are in requirements phase, so we are not designing anything yet. Yeah, not yet. Although you have to create the models, but the skill is not called designing. Designing is when you have your own idea. Yeah, or you combine some ideas and come up with new ideas, something like that. But for requirements, you are trying to interpret the needs. So it's not about designing yet. Okay, all right. So what else needed? Instead of designing, the skill that you need is actually modeling. The modeling and designing is a little bit different meaning. Yeah. So modeling is about when you have this data or you have this diagram sketch with pencil or pen on paper. So you can use some modeling tools to create the diagrams. So that's what we call modeling. Yeah. And also before you can draw it on using tools, you have to draw it on paper, right? So the skill of drawing that models on the paper is also part of the modeling. But sometimes they say there is actually the outcome of an analysis. So that's why it's being put under one box, yeah, analysis and modeling, because they are very close, yeah. All right, so specification. Any skill specification is actually about writing. So once you have everything, the models, the diagrams, the tables, the data, the text, all the meaningful information, so that now you can represent them in form of documents, so that your user, your client, or your any reader that will read your software requirements documents, they can actually go through the documents smoothly. So the way you write them is under specification, yeah, writing the specs, yeah. All right, and validation, someone has mentioned just now, validation skill. So they are all different skill in each phase, and for management skill it covers across all the activities, yeah. uh, so that's how you relate with all the activity with the skills. And which means when you're doing your project during this class, so you have to go across all these activities. You have to go through, yeah, elicitation, analysis, modeling, specification, validation, meaning that you will, at least if you don't have that skill, you will get the opportunity to practice your skill, yeah. If you don't have it, then you can start having it, and if you already have it, then you can improve that, hopefully, yeah. So which means at the end of the course, you should be able to apply for the requirements engineer, if they welcome the fresh graduates, of course, yeah. So do well in the course, then hopefully you get the all what is needed for requirement engineer. Okay. So this is the slide where this is not about the person or the people who conduct the software requirement process, but these are the people who are actually involved, related, or close related, or indirectly related to the project. Okay, so why the stakeholders are very important? It's because these are the potential people that can give you information that you want for that project, for that software, for the requirements, yeah. So for example, here we have management. It's either your management or your client's management, yeah. We have this team members, yeah, team members of your group, yeah, either it's the developer team or requirements team or the whole project team, yeah. Sometimes they divide them into small teams, yeah. So we have sponsor of the project, people who fund the project, yeah, who pay the project. So sometimes we call it funder, or whoever who give the grant, or whoever pay directly to you. Okay, so there are also owners. So owner, if is from a small company, maybe just one owner. But if it's a big company, then it is client company, then it might involve some board of directors, the CEO, stockholders. Okay. Then we have also functional departments. So if your company, if your client's company is from a big company, so there are different departments in the company. So sometimes the project is, although the firm, the company is about accounting, for example, but the project that you are doing focusing on marketing, then you have to go to the marketing. But you also, when you are doing the business domain, you need to know also about the main operation of the company, because sometimes there are something information that you need to take in, yeah. So if it's accounting firm, then you still need to get the business domain of the accounting to make sure nothing is missing, yeah. Okay, so there are also of course customers, yeah, your client. So client, it doesn't mean that it must be the direct user. Sometimes they don't actually use your system, but the client is someone who thinks, yeah, their user need them or their staff need them, yeah. So customer, the same goes like clients. It's actually and the same term can be used for the same thing, yeah. But when we say user, there can be different contexts. That's why when you're doing software requirements, you don't just say user. You have to be very specific. If you just use user, which user? Is it the top level user? Is it the end user? Is it the indirect user? Is it someone who just get the report? Is it someone who actually use that application? Is it someone who asks some people to do it for them? So User is a very general term. Don't use user. Okay, but for today, it's just the category. So you need to know the category, then only you can identify the specific name for them when it comes to the when you already identified the domain of the project. Okay. All right. So what else? So the external people. That is quite far, but maybe closely related, maybe indirectly related. Okay, we have here government. So government, the regulators, maybe like we have the council, city council, we have the police, fires department, something like that. Yeah. So we can have people who has like halal from Jakim or something, something like that. Yeah. The agencies, the legislations, there are lots of things, legal things. So you need to identify each of this category, yeah, when you're doing the stakeholders analysis, because you need to find out which are from all these people, which will be related, or you need to go and see them, or you need to get some information from them. Okay. So what else? Competitors. So competitors is usually we consider them as negative stakeholders. Yeah, you normally don't go and see the competitors. Yeah, but we basically we need to know what they are interested in. Yeah, and what are the things that they have already used. Yeah, because we need to compete with them. They are our competitors. Yeah, usually we don't share whatever we find out with our competitors. And it's not about our competitors, it's about the client's competitors. Yeah. So if the client use that software or that system, competitors might hate it. Yeah. They don't like it because it means that your client will be better than them, something like that. Yeah. So competitors is negative stakeholders. Just make sure what do they have right now, they are interested in. So sometimes you need to you don't actually spy them, but you can actually, for example, if they have some system use, right, then they have that inside the Google Play or something, you can go and get some information from there. Yeah. Okay, community. Yeah, because if the software is related to community use, something that benefit the community, it's not directly related sometimes, so still you need to go and find out. Yeah. And we also have media. So media is the because they can influence people, so it can affect the project. If something happened, then the media will actually notice that as fast as they can, right? So you need to be able to identify this kind of stakeholders category, and during the stakeholder analysis, you will, after you identify each of the category, then you identify exactly who are the people that you are going to see, and sometimes we will remove, yeah, not sometimes, usually we will remove most of the time, most of them from the list, yeah, because they are not actually that important. So but the first thing is you need to be able to list them all out first, yeah, and make sure no one is missing, yeah, from the list. All right. So that is about stakeholders. So what about stakeholders that the students always confused with? Okay, stakeholders, normally when they Google, they just write stakeholders. So when they just write stakeholders, the problem is stakeholders has different meaning. Yeah, if you just write stakeholders. But if you try to Google the meaning of stakeholders, you have to put stakeholders in software engineering. Okay, stakeholders in software engineering. Then only you can get the correct interpretation of stakeholders, the things that I have described to you today. All right, so don't get confused. Okay, so this is an example. I know you cannot see that very clearly, but if you have my notes, then you can read it out. So you have to focus on the black and the gray oval boxes. Yeah, so um, let's see the first one. Yeah, start from the middle. So we have the stuff of okay, this is about stakeholders analysis for a dementia cafe. So it's actually a cafe dedicated for people with some illnesses called dementia, and dementia is actually related to symptoms like loss of memory, something like that. Yeah. So they have actually this cafe, special cafe, maybe somewhere near the hospital somewhere. Okay, so this is actually happened at Seongju. Seongju is in Korea. So let's start with the middle stakeholders there. Staff of Dementia Cafe. So these are people who are very related to a software that is part of used in the cafe. Yeah. So clearly the staff are the people who directly contact with the software. Yeah. So we have also visitor. Okay. Maybe the software has direct the user use directly. Yeah. But sometimes maybe the staff use the software for the user, so they are both in the middle of the middle one. Yeah, the circle there, it's actually meaning that it's the closely related to the software, so they have direct contact, something like that, or they use directly. Okay. And then what else? We have, there are also market goers. So market goers, maybe it's the market's near to the cafe. So sometimes they actually go to the cafe, maybe, yeah. And then if they have market goers, then there must be market. So when there's market, then there are merchants there, yeah, people who selling things at the market. So what else? We have also family and the neighbor for the visitor. Yeah, visitor is the patient, the dementia patient. And we also have what else? The Ministry of the Internal Affair, the Interior, I think it's Internal Affair. And then we have the local government, yeah, healthcare center, yeah, and we have also a bit direct related or not that closely related is Associated Hospital. We have Ministry of Health and Welfare. And we also have that gray colored national institution and also call center of dementia. So maybe it's really you can say that we actually use the closely related or direct contact, something like that. So when it goes away out from the circle, the inner circle there, meaning that the relationship is become weaker and weaker, but sometimes they are still uh, needed to be considered. Yeah, for example, if the government or the ministry actually asks a report from the cafe every month, for example, so which means the system must be able to create the report. So meaning that that ministry becoming the indirect user for the system. So we will be doing this, yeah, maybe in another 2 weeks, yeah. So make sure that you focus when you're doing the analysis because it's part of the important process in requirement process, yeah. Okay, so are you ready for which type? The second segment of today. Okay, so requirements types. If we look back during week 1, yeah, when we are talking about the definition of requirements, the software requirements, so there are three definitions, yeah. And when it comes to the first one, or all three, yeah, where we talk about what actually needed by the user, yeah, what actually needed. So the what thing is actually a requirement. So what kind of requirements that we're talking about? So I have mentioned last week, yeah, that there are three things that we focus on. Yeah, there are others, but these are the most one that we will focus on. So capabilities, quality and constraint. Okay, if you actually read some books, yeah, you have gone through some books and also maybe in principles of engineering, maybe you have heard about functional requirements, the FR, or non-functional requirements, the NFR. Yeah. So in this course, I would prefer to use capabilities instead of functional requirements, but it's actually the same meaning. Quality and constraint for non-functional requirements. Yeah. So whenever I say capabilities, actually I'm referring to functional requirements. And when I say quality, it's non-functional. When I say constraint, it's non-functional. Okay, hopefully you can relate that. I have to mention it because if you read books, then you might see the functional and non-functional stuff. Yeah? But I prefer to use other term. I have reason for that, so I will explain that later. But for time being, you have to remember capabilities, quality and constraint. Okay, so capabilities is actually uh, actually have parts of it. Yeah, there are different parts of capability. So one, yeah, it's about function of the system. So when it comes to function, yeah, it's actually functional. Uh, but there are also other capabilities as well. That's why I don't want to use functional requirements, because you will get confused with functional that is really functional and functional that is not about functional but is about something else. So it's going to be messy in your head. Okay, so capabilities, there are actually three subtypes. Yeah, so capabilities is about the function of the system. Function of the system, for example, when you're using ATM, what is the function that you're using? Why you use ATM as a user, ATM user? Why you use ATM? Come on, use the chat function. Okay, to get money, to withdraw money. You don't draw money, withdraw. Okay, so you withdraw money. That's why you use ATM machine. So that is the function. So normally when we are looking for the statement saying about the function, or when you interview your stakeholders, yeah, your client, they will mention, I want to, so I want to what? I want to use the system for, so you need to take note that statement, because that are the functions that they want to be inside the system. So normally the person, or if it's in the form of statement, you will see the name of the user at the front. It's either the system or the user. So normally the user wants to withdraw money, or the system allow you to withdraw money. That is the function. Okay, but one thing about function that you have to be very careful, which has been the mistake has been done a lot by your seniors. Yeah, they cannot differentiate between functions and step. Function and step. Okay, let me give you one example. An ATM user insert his card into the card slot at the ATM machine. Is that a function or a step? Is it a function or a step of a function? Step. Okay, it's a step. So how can you identify whether it's a step or is a function? Is there any people they use ATM because they want to insert the card into the card slot? Ada ke? Tak ada kan? No. Tak tahulah hobi ke apa kan. So normally a normal person won't use ATM machine to just insert the card. Or I just want to insert, I want just key in my PIN number. Why do I, where are you going? I'm going to the ATM. Why? Oh, because I want to insert my card into the card slot. Pelik kan? So that is step of a function. So step of a function is also important information. But when you're starting doing the requirement process, you will have this, you have to identify the function first. If you find there are some information about the step, you keep that information, because it's very important, but it will be, you will need them when the times come. Yeah, so keep it somewhere. So this is for this function. Let's talk about function first, something like that. Okay, so capabilities, function. If you get information about step, KIV first, okay, because it will go to that later. Okay, but capabilities, find the function first. That is the most important. Okay, so the second thing about capabilities is also about the behavior of the system. So it's actually something that we have programmed, not we will program the system to be like that. For example, once you have withdrawn the money, sometimes they will ask you that whether you want to have the receipt or not, right? So did you ask them? Did you actually press a button for receipt? No. They will ask you automatically, right? So that is the behavior of the system. The behavior of the system. If something happen, then they will do this. If you press this, then they will do that, for example. So they will display this or something, or they will lead some light. So it's actually the behavior of the system. Okay, So normally for the word, for the statement, we will be looking at for the word the system will apa, shall display something, shall send automatically something. When it comes to automatic, normally it's the system, not people, right? So that is behavior, still under capabilities of the system. Because that is the capability of the system. They can actually make the system to behave like this. So that is also the capability. So functions, capabilities of behavior of the system, function for the user, behavior of the system, and the third one is about data. Okay, it's about data. What are the data? So capabilities of the system is also how they capable to keep that data. So if there are statements or requirements stating about data, yeah, or they will keep the username with the account number or something like that. So which means that is part of the capabilities as well. Okay, because the system able to keep that information, that is capabilities. Yeah. Okay, now we go to quality. So quality is actually about the quality of the software, the system. So what are the quality attributes expected by the user when they use the system? For example, when you use the MySys, what do you expect? So when you use ATM, what do you expect? Yeah. So normally for ATM, what is the most important quality we expect from that? Security, of course. Yeah. It's not that when you key in your PIN number and suddenly the ATM machine display your PIN number and it all printed out at the ATM wall or something. So that cannot happen, kan? So it's about security first. But there are also other things about quality attribute about ATM. For example, it has to be fast. Yeah, you cannot wait until 15 minutes until then only the money come out. So it has to be good in terms of performance, in terms of speed, yeah, something like that. So that's about quality. Senang kan? So quality, when there are statement about quality, normally if they say it has to be very fast. So when you try to elicit this information, you have to make sure that you ask how fast is fast. How many seconds you expect. So the user need to specify exactly the value of the quality. Yeah? Is it 10 seconds? Is it enough? How about 30 seconds? So they need to get that value. Yeah. So quality normally is about the some attribute, speed, or maybe it's about performance, or maybe about storage size, or maybe about accessibility, the load, how many people can access at one time, something like that. Okay, so it has to come with some value, yeah, associated with that attribute. Yeah, fast, then you have to go to how many seconds, how many minutes, how many days, yeah, how many hours, something like that. All right, so quality, about quality. And then constraint. So normally people will confuse between constraint and quality. Okay, they thought it's about the same thing, but that's not true. Okay, so quality, if you read the statement, it sounds positive. It sounds good. Oh, they want to have access within 10 seconds. Oh, okay, that sounds logic. That sounds good. So that's about quality. But you can't, when it comes to constraint, it's either has no feeling. It doesn't feel like, I don't know whether it's good or bad. If it doesn't feel anything to you, then it might be constrained. Or sometimes you feel, it's limited like that. They want to use this. Something like that. So that is constraint. It sounds a bit negative there. If they put some constraint to the developers or to the user, then it must be constrained. And usually the statement contain must. Sometimes it contain must. So it must use this. You must, something like that. So it's a constraint. All right. Hopefully you can um, differentiate, all these capabilities, quality, and constraint. So for the capabilities, we have Kahoot game after this, so be ready. So for the capabilities, you don't have to identify yet the subtypes, but if it's in the three category, in the three subtypes of capabilities, then the answer will be capabilities for the Kahoot. Okay, and then the quality and the constraint. So are you ready? If you're ready, give me some time so that I can set up the game. All right.